Hello.
Today we are going to talk about what is the best place to live in Lisboa, and that brought us here in Saldanha, where we live.
We are literally a stone throw away from our apartment.
We have been living here in Saldanha for 6 months and we have come to love this area.
So much that it is, in our opinion, the best area to live in Lisbon.
So today we are going to take you around and show you the reasons why.
Also, we're going to compare with some of the other areas in Lisbon that we also love, because this is not the only place that is nice to live.
We are standing on Plaça Duque de Saldanha, which is the main square here in this city area. It's located on one of the main streets of Lisbon, which is Avenida Liberdade, and that's why it's super noisy, because this is one of the pulses in Lisbon. This statue is the Marshall statue. We don't know very much about him, other than he was a big political figure here in Lisbon.
One of the things that he did very well was creating a very beautiful area here in Saldanha, because it is a Parisian inspired neighborhood, but the legacy of this dude has sort of been ruined in part. So before we're singing our praises about how great Saldanha is, let me just address one thing that I absolutely hate. They went from this to that, from this to that. It breaks my heart. This trend where they have just destroyed old beautiful buildings to build these modern atrocities is unfortunately a theme that is quite big throughout Lisbon. You have beautiful building, atrocious building, beautiful building, atrocious building. Hopefully one day we can tear these buildings down and build some new elegant building that correlates with what Mr. Duque de Saldanha had in mind. Let's get this video started.
No céu cinzento, sob o astro mudo, batendo as asas pela noite calada, vêm em bandos com pés de veludo, chupar o sangue fresco da manada. Se alguém se engana com seu ar sisudo e lhes franqueia as portas à chegada, eles comem tudo, eles comem tudo, eles comem tudo e não deixam nada. Eles comem tudo, eles comem tudo, eles comem tudo e não deixam nada.
So before we take you around the neighborhood, we will start here, because this is one of the things that is super cozy here in Saldanha. You have a bunch of different kiosks and they are very Parisian inspired, and it's here that all the locals, they start their morning. So Saldanha is the business district of Lisbon. There is such a good pulse here during the week. When people are working, they have lunch here at the small cafes or restaurants, and they have their afternoon coffee here as well, or beer.
Also, this is one of the most expensive places to live in Lisbon. We have made a video, cost of living in Portugal, that addresses this particular area, rent in Saldanha. It's super expensive, but you get what you pay for, and 20 meters from our apartment, this is what you get.
Another thing you get when you are located here in Saldanha is an amazing infrastructure. There are actually 3 metro stations in Saldanha, which is a lot considered how small the area actually is.
Normally in this weather you'll just walk there, because it's only like 6-7 minutes on feet. But just to prove a point, we're gonna take the metro. It's one stop, bam, you're in a shopping mecca.
This line takes you to the center in Principe Real in about 6 minutes.
Actually, I have no idea why we're doing this, because normally we only take the metro when we're going to Chiado, to the airport, or to Colombo, generally far away from Saldanha. Now we're waiting 6 minutes. We could have walked there, but you get the point. The metro is still convenient, but when you're going to where we're going now, it's actually easier and cheaper to take an Uber. Can you believe that?
And just like that, we are in Corte Inglés. This is the mall you go to if you need anything special, because here you can literally get everything. This is actually my favorite place to go grocery shopping because it's super convenient, because they have everything. And that is despite there are several good organic stores in the area too.
Thankfully, we're not doing any shopping in malls because that is my number one hate thing to do. What we are gonna do is stroll through the streets of Saldanha because they are littered with nice little shops, special shops, and the general shopping such as Zara, Massimo Dutti, all the, you know, Chinese brands. Not today, Amalie. Nej, jeg gider ikke. If you are a man, the many shops for females might be a minus because it's an extra expense.
Or some would actually call it an investment in your relationship, because
yeah,
everybody knows that when women they shop, they get a little bit more happy.
Because everybody knows that women, they are 100% materialistic. So yeah.
Oh, come on.
I'm coming on strong. This is an example of an interesting shop. Lamps.
Wow.
He does have a lot of expensive designer lamps from the entire world, like from Japan, from Denmark.
From Japan. Other places. Are there
From
other
Brazil, from
Brazil.
Italy, from so many different places.
Denmark. So here is a marvelous example on the architectural contrast here in Saldanha and generally Lisbon, because you have this very pleasingly, very beautiful building. But then if you live inside it, you are bound to look at this piece of shit over here. How on earth can you ever accept that to be built in such a classic and elegant neighborhood? It really hurts my feelings. If Lisbon one day was hit by an earthquake, that is one of the buildings that deserve to be put to the ground.
That is so mean. Here's an example where you actually had a really beautiful building. You didn't even dare to do it adjusted and pull it down. You had to put in these disgusting windows and this disgusting top. Why would you build something on top of such a beautiful building?
On a positive note though, Amalie, have you noticed, well I'm sure you have, but you guys, have you noticed that we are walking straight? Everything is planned, which is one of the best things about living in Saldanha, because if you live in Alfama, Principe Real, Chiado, whatever, you have hills all over the place, and that means walking up and down. So being from Denmark, there is one thing that we don't like, that is hills. Walking uphill, it's the worst. Here, it's just like a...
Oh, that's Mariana.
Friends?
One thing that I will also mention is that here when you are in Saldanha, you feel much more local, because even though you can go out and you can get sushi and you can get Asian fusion and you can get Mexican or whatever cuisine you want, you still have the pleasure of enjoying all the tascas that is in this area, which is super local, and you will sit in there and have your dinner and you will be the only person who is bad at Portuguese. This is just another example of a really charming boutique which has a bunch of cool special things.
Actually, it's just a furniture shop, but one of our favorite. And also Saldanha has a lot of furniture shops, something that is really hard to find when you move to Lisbon. What the fuck is this?
It's a lamp.
Really? Mm-hmm. Anyway, we right below in the description you can find an article we have made on Saldanha. It's on our new website, by the way. You should go check it out. Please, no shopping. You're always picking the same ones. You have 5 of these. No more. No more.
No more!
That's what I'm talking about. Here in Saldanha you have I don't think I'm lying if I say 50 to 100 Chinese shops that literally
You're probably exaggerating.
No, I don't think I am. And they literally have...
50 to 100.
And they literally... Well, there are a lot.
This is the kind of gold you find in these shops. And why are we buying these, you may ask? Because none of our outlets work in Portugal. And we've been needing these for like 5 months. Every time we're like running around the apartment. Where is the fucking converter? Right here. Hey.
Hello. There's one more thing that we think makes it very worthy to live here, and that is that again and again you'll stumble about small secret gyms here in the neighborhood.
Behind us is a hotel, so I'm sure a lot of tourists know this, but it's not the average go-to place for people visiting Lisbon. So this is our favorite rooftop for sunsets. Welcome
To the top of Jupiter Hotel in Saldanha, as you might have guessed.
This hotel is nothing special, but the rooftop is
It's magnificent.
dynamite.
Yeah.
We have been here quite a number of times, usually with a big bottle of white wine, but since we can't drink right now, other than water,
And coffee.
we are torturing ourselves.
There are so many nice areas in Lisbon, but if we should do a comparison, I think you should do it.
I think Saldanha it's not the most beautiful neighborhood in Lisbon. If you go further into Chiado, Bairro Alto, Alfama, Matimoni, Lapa, Estrela, those areas are much more clean in terms of beautiful architecture. But architecture and aestheticness is not the only aspect of what makes a place amazing to live. Generally, as the closer you get to the center, the more inconvenient it gets on a daily basis. You have to deal with so many tourists. You can't park your car, you can't get through traffic. Generally, it's just much more of a hassle, and we can speak of experience because we've stayed 2 months in an Airbnb.
Different Airbnbs in Alfama.
Yeah, right? And also Principe Real. And I think for us, life just feels more real here. For us, it gets too touristy every day. If we have to look at people from Denmark.
Yeah. So as we mentioned earlier today, you got all the restaurants, you got all the shops, everything that you need. You have doctors, you have hairdressers, everything is just within
hospitals.
Like, it's really nice that you have only 10 minutes with an Uber to the airport.
Yeah.
And you have only 10 minutes walking distance to Avenida Liberdade, where all the really expensive luxury shops is, and also
very important that we're close to those shops.
Actually it is. And then you are maybe 25 minutes on walking to the Buttercup of Lisbon, where all the tourists is. So you are close to the tourism and the charming old part of the city, but yet you are a little bit distant.
Sun is setting, Amalia.
And
Sun
I
is
also
setting.
think we have been talking a lot now.
If you're not moving to Portugal, if you would love to, but it's still a dream, you can sign up for a postcard on Patreon, and we will send you one right from here, and it'll feel like home when you get it. Was that it?
I think that was it. in the next vlog. Ate loco.
Ate loco.
Ciao, ciao.